Hello, we're going to do a nice full body flow today, and as usual the shared folder will contain all the components. The equipment I've got just by the side of me here, regardless of whether I use it or not, my two blocks, brick-shaped blocks, some foam blocks, or you could use a meditation cushion, just something to elevate your hips and elevate your head when we do frontline work or seated work. I've got my resistance band, which is just a light one because it's the only one I've got, and strap. Don't matter whether I use it, it's there. We're going to start standing in the center of the mat today. As usual, your guidelines are no pain, do the best you can. Power of the video is that you can pause and check, make adaptations where necessary. And I would always recommend applying your Pilates and yoga principles to all the work. Prioritize high quality work over fast flow or reaching an end goal. Your objective is not to copy the moves in the shape that I make them, but to do the moves well and correctly for your body. Most of the work that we do, in fact, all of the work that we do has some strength integrity to it. There's no floppy, loose, baggy movements. So I would recommend, if you can't remember how to set up your Pilates core, find the link in the notes below and go over there and apply it. Quick summary reminder of core in Pilates. Your pelvic floor is lightly lifted. Your waist, front, back, and sides is lightly drawn in. You're breathing deep and wide into your ribs. Shoulders are relaxed, and spine is neutral. So if you're lying on the floor, you would have a small gap under your lower back. If you're standing, your spine would be naturally curving through its S-curves with no excessive tipping back of the hips, lifting of the chest, or rounding either. So neutral spine, I describe it as, imagine you're wearing a very expensive suit, and as a result, you feel really tall and confident, and you're lifting through all of those deep core muscles. None of it should be labored. It's about a 30% engagement, which means intentional, but not labored. Let's make a start. So you're going to start at the center of your mat with your feet under your hips, grow tall, and we're going to ground through Tadasana first, mountain pose. Ground your feet down. If they start to feel uncomfortable, you can go a little wider, but I prefer people to not go narrower than hip distance apart unless they cue it. Shoulders are relaxed, crown of the head is lifted, arms are just loosely hanging down by your sides, waist in, pelvic floor lifted a little bit. Start to roll your body weight around your feet just a few times in each direction. Do more of this if you need to. Start to find the corners of your feet all the way across from the big toe to the little toe and all the way across your heels, trying not to collapse into the arches or out to the edges. After you've done a few circles, start to center yourself between your 2 feet to the best of your ability. Feel the weight evenly distributing down your legs. Bring your hands down by your sides with your palms facing forward. Waist just lightly drawn in. Let's take a few light shoulder rolls, up, back, and down, up, back, and down, up, back, and down. Do some more of these if you need to. Feel tall. We're starting with swaying palm. Inhale, circle your arms up towards the ceiling. Weave your fingers together, palms to the ceiling. Exhale, extend your arms over to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the left. Work at your own pace. The aim of these is not to do great big movements. It's to make nice long extensions and start to root down through your feet more and more evenly with each rep. So there's a sense that your hips aren't moving. It's just your upper body lengthening away from the hips. Shoulders remain stacked over your hips. Arms, biceps in line with ears, nice and tall. Last one. Good. When you're ready, let's bring this back to center. And we're going to step wide for some half Cossack sweeps. Step as wide as you comfortably can to start with. Turn your toes out, and you're just going to take a lunge. Knee with your right knee extending over your right toes, right arm extending over to the left. Inhale through center, exhale to the other side. So it's your same side arm extending away from the same side knee that's lunging. This is not a deep Cossack lunge, hence half Cossack sweeps. If you're a GMB person, this is familiar to you. If you're not, then it probably resembles side bends in goddess pose or prayer squat or sumo squat. Doesn't matter. We're just moving from side to side, mobilizing through the hips. Notice, how do your hips feel? You should be feeling something. If your knee is dropping in as you bend, start to drive it out. If you're having pain in your knees, you need to adjust the direction of your toes, the depth of your squat, or the width of your feet. One more on each side, right and left. Stand away, bring it back to center. Let's direct arms up to 5-pointed star, fingertips reaching for the ceiling, gazing up a little bit. We're going to transfer our feet to warrior two. So left toes point forward, right toes point to the right. Arms sink down as you bend your knee over your ankle for warrior two. Drive down through your feet fully. Outer edge of your left foot is pressing into the floor, as well as the left side big toe. The right foot, your knee is driving out towards your pinky toe, no collapsing. We're going to reach up and reach down. The main thing I noticed about this exercise, just keep this movement going, is that people tend to lurch their upper body towards their bending knee. You don't need to do that. It's straight up, bend the knee, body sinks straight down. Pay attention. Are you doing that? You don't need to lurch your upper body anywhere. Upper body floats up and down. Core is lightly connected. Let's finish off here. We're going to reach all the way up. Swivel your feet back to 5-pointed star. Hands to hips. Hip circles. Nice and steady. Imagine you've got a pair of headlights attached to the front of your hips. As the hips move, your headlights want to continue to point forwards. Don't let them twist to the right or to the left. Essentially, don't allow your hips to twist as you take your hip circles. The aim here is not just to hinge from the hips, but also to press your hip, pelvic bowl forward, out to the side and back. If there was one movement that is probably one of the most valuable things that you can do through life every day, is a good hip circle. Check whether you're sufficiently challenging the width of your legs. So let's go back the other way. A lot of people I find they're very sort of delicate about how wide they take their legs. But a challenge is not a terrible thing. No pain, but just shuffle out a little wider if you find that you have a standard stance you always go to. Maybe there's something for it if you just heel and toe out by another toes width. Right, nearly done. Maybe switch directions halfway through. I always forget to mention it. Right, when you're ready, bring it forward. Heel and toe, if you need to, your feet back in a little bit more. For warrior two, opposite way. I'm going to turn the left toes to the left, right toes forward, and just check, is your stance correct, knee over ankle. When you're ready, arms are going up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, sink into warrior two. Remember, no lurching, same cues as before. Let's do another 5 of these. Reach up, reach down. Breathe as you move. Looking for nice and smooth movements. You're not copying my movements, except that your knee does not overshoot your ankle in this particular movement. And you are not just going at my pace. Go with your own breath. We're going to hang out here in this next warrior two for a moment. Drive down through your feet, relax the tops of your shoulders, reach your arms away. Yes, warrior two is hard work. Gazing over your left fingertips. Fantastic. Release your arms, lengthen up your legs, hands to hips. Toes may point forward for this one. I'm going to turn around for this exercise, but you can continue to face the way you're facing. The wide leg standing forward fold. you can bend your knees for this. If you do, you can turn your toes out. Otherwise, on an exhale, hinge yourself forward from your hips. Your weight will push a little bit back into your heels. It's fine. And just allow yourself to soften down into your forward fold. Doesn't matter where you are at this point. Just go to wherever you can get to. And this is really important. You're never trying to copy anyone when you do a wide leg forward fold. You're paying attention to your own hips and legs. You're noticing what your lower back feels like. It should feel really good, if a little challenging. Press the outer edges of your feet down as well as the inner edges. There should be a little bit of activity through your legs, not passive. And hang out. Just breathe in your forward fold. Feel the stretch, make adjustments. I know there are a few people who do not enjoy a forward fold. It's because it challenges the outer edges of their lower legs around where the calf muscles, the outer calf muscles are, because of soleus. Excuse me if I've mixed up the names of those muscles. But yeah, it's okay if you need to come in, if you need to come out. We're going to have one more breath here. If you need to shake off your legs, do it, because we're going to take some twists here in a moment. When you're ready, come up to a halfway lift position. You can use blocks. If you need to bring your feet in a bit, turn the heels in and bend the knees a bit, that's fine. In your halfway lift, root down through your feet, draw your waist in. On an exhale, rotate your right arm up towards the ceiling, or you can have hand on hip if your shoulders are feeling tight. I'm going to do 2 more on each, 3 on each side in total. So let's go over to the left. Steady. This is not a leg movement, it's a waist movement. Actually, doesn't matter how big your rotation is. Feel the movement through your waist and your upper back. 1 more on each side. Exhale to rotate. You want to make sure there's no pain in your spine, no ratcheting or hoiking around your vertebra. There's no need. When you've finished, we're going to come into a straddle downward facing dog. If you can't do a straddle downward facing dog, you can do a normal downward facing dog. But from here, I just like to take my hands forward, push my hips back, lengthen out through the spine. Again, I'm still really active. I'm not hanging towards the floor. I'm pressing my arms down, active through my shoulders, lengthening my hips away from my spine and just lightly withdrawing in through my waist, tensed through my legs. It's a very active position. And this movement is bringing us back towards downward facing dog. So you can get to dog however suits you, but I'm just going to step my feet in. The downward facing dog, lengthened through the spine. And we're coming to knees down position. So just lower your knees down to the floor. Walk your hands in. And we're going to come into crescent moon. So you can get to crescent moon however you like. I tend to break up this work because I like to pad out my knee. And I want to make sure I get a really good stretch since we're still prepping. So tailbone tucks under you, right leg is forward, feet are hip distance apart, don't allow them to line up. Bring your right foot forward, make sure the knee remains over the ankle as you sink your hips towards the floor. Draw your arms up towards the ceiling, lift and lengthen through your chest muscles, chest bone, breastbone, and gazing up. This should not be unduly tight in your lower back. You can be much higher for this if that's what's happening. Good. Let's sweep the hands down to frame your front foot, hinge your hips back, and lengthen through your right leg, toes pointing upwards. This is a really good one. If you're struggling for balance or lift through the spine, grab your blocks and hold them as you lengthen up. Tuck your right thigh bone into the hip joint and then start to walk your blocks forward until you get a decent length through your spine. Try not to hunch around here. We're not up for that. Doesn't matter how high you are. This is half splits. Back toes can be tucked if you want, but I find it's no good for my knees. So yeah, be where you need to be for this one, but try not to round through your spine. and make sure the extension through the back of your right leg is nice and even through the muscles, not pulling on the major joints. Doing great. We're going to bring this back to runner's lunge, sink down. Your hands can be on the inside of the leg if you need more space. Step back to downward facing dog and have a nice pedal. Notice how your right leg feels compared to your left. It might be exactly the same, but it might be different. Fantastic. Let's lower the knees again. And this time left leg comes forward. Again, if you want to use your blocks for your crescent moon, you are absolutely entitled to. Otherwise, take your arms up, sink your hips down, left knee over left ankle. It's not a downward energy movement. It's a pulling up. So chest is lifting up, pelvic floor is lifting up. And even though my hips are lowering towards the floor, I'm not hanging into the floor. I'm actually pressing myself up and away from the floor as much as I can, whilst being as deep in the stretch as I can. It's hard work. Let's bring the hands down, half splits. As before, option to come up with your blocks or without the blocks. Hand loosely woven on your thigh, lift it through the chest, and then start to hinge forward. Have a gazing point. Do not lock your extended knee. The knee can be a little bent if you need to. Hang out here. Enjoy a good stretch. A lot of this work can feel quite hard when you're fresh. So don't worry if you're finding it surprisingly tiring. We're nearly there. It's a pretty long warm-up, this one. It's not basic. Simple movements, but demanding movements. When you're ready, runner's lunge, and then step it back, downward dog. In your dog this time, press through your fingertips, press through your hands, active through the spine, hips tilting upwards. It's fine if your knees need to be bent, but see about keeping your arms rooted into the floor, that lift through your chest, and then swing your heels to the left and let those hips lengthen over to the left as well. When you're ready, we're going up and over to the right. And bring it back to center. Look towards the top of the mat. We're going to walk forward into ragdoll. And just hang out. Soft knees, feet under hips. Opposite elbow to opposite hand if you can get there, or you don't need to. If your arms are dangling, that's all good. Have a little sway if you want. You can wiggle your shoulders. You can wobble your head around just to free any tension that has built up. And just see what's here for you. This is just the end of the prep session. So if you're carrying on, carry on. If this is good enough for you, it's a pretty decent full body mobilization practice on its own. Otherwise, we're going to make our way up to Tadasana, ready for some sun salutations. So let it go, or soften your knees. Inhale, lengthen up, lifting from the chest, reaching all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Grow tall. As I always say, make any relevant wardrobe adjustments for sun salutations. Sun salutations have a way of making everything fall apart in the wardrobe department and the hair department. So let's go. I'm going to keep the sun salutation cues very minimal. So with minimal sun salutation cues, I'd like you to work at your own pace as usual. Make adjustments that you need to make. If you've been training with me long enough, you know what those are. I'll try and chuck them in so you know, but I'm not going to cue every detail. Let's start here, tall in mountain pose. When you're ready, inhale, circle up. Exhale, soft forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, standing forward fold. Right leg steps back, crescent moon, lower the right knee. Just for a moment, inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, arms down, downward facing dog. Lift and lengthen, hips high, draw them back. Lengthen out. When you're ready, look towards the top of your mat. We're coming forward into plank. Lift your spine, lengthen out, hug through your core, gaze a little bit ahead of your hands, strong through your whole body. On your exhale, lower your knees, lower your chest, and then inhale, open up a little cobra, flattening out through your hips. Any cobra that's right for you, but remember you're not hoiking from your lower back. Next step is downward facing dog or child's pose. I don't mind how you get there. Make your way up, hips high and back. Deep breaths for 3 rounds of breathing. Be wherever you need to be. Look towards the top of the mat and you can either walk, step, or hop into your standing forward fold. However you get there, notice whether your legs are lengthening up at this stage. Knees can always be soft, feet under hips. Inhale, circle all the way up, tall mountain. And exhale, arms down by your sides, mountain pose. We're going to go for another round. When you're ready, mountain pose. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, soft forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen out. Exhale, standing forward fold. Take your time. Left leg steps back, 4, crescent moon. Lower the left knee. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, circle down. Step back, downward dog. On your inhale, bring it forward into your nice strong plank. Lower your knees, lower your chest down forward between your arms. Inhale, open up cobra, any kind of cobra that's good for you today. And when you're ready, make your way back to downward facing dog in any way that feels good for you. Hold your dog, fidget if you want, for 3 breaths. Lengthen those heels away. Strong in the arms, lengthen through the spine. Remember, knees can be quite deeply bent towards your chest if you need to lengthen your spine more. Fantastic. However you got there the last time, either pick the other side or find your way forward again. Standing forward fold. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, hands to heart. Fantastic. Let's flow away down to the mat. Inhale, circle your arms up. Exhale, soft forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, standing forward fold. Step your right leg back. Step your left leg back. Downward dog. Look towards the top of the mat. Plank. Lengthen it out. Lower your knees and lower the rest of your body all the way down to your front. We're going to do some little back bending exercises, bringing us towards locust pose. I recommend starting with something under your forehead. So lying with your forehead resting on the cushion or whatever you've got hanging out there. You have 2 options for this work. Your more advanced option, or the one where your shoulders are feeling a little stiff and tight and you need to dial it back a bit. So we're actually just going to rest arms to start with. Maybe you can put them anywhere, but I like to just let them hang out in goalpost position. Lengthen out your legs about hip distance apart. Draw your waist in like you're wearing I don't know, Spanx. Drawing your waist in like you've got a lightly strung up corset on, pelvic floor lightly lifted. So just kind of feels like you're trying to pull your belly off the floor. And as you exhale, you're going to lengthen your right leg away towards the wall behind you. Maybe let it float. And then inhale to center and exhale over to the left. And inhale to release. And you're just going to carry on that movement for a few reps while I sit up, because it's impossible to hear my mic when I'm lying on my front. Your job of work here is to try and avoid too much tilting and movement through your upper body. You're also trying to avoid tensing up your legs. Your job is to try and feel a sense of length running down your side body, with the lift coming from the glute rather than hoiking your leg up towards the ceiling. So the mistake people make when they do this work is just pulling their leg up and dropping it down, pulling the other leg up, dropping it down. The lower back does everything. The hips are tilting back and forth, side to side. This is an exercise in stabilization and extension. It's strengthening up through the whole line of your spine, your deep core, transverse abdominis, and your glutes and hips. The legs are not really part of it, and neither are the shoulders. So shoulders relaxed, legs heavy. It is enough to slide your leg away like you're trying to touch the wall, with a level of control through your core so that your back isn't tensing up every time you do it. It's an exercise called swimming prone. It's just the leg section. So if you need to explore it more, you can look it up. It's Pilates. Finish on your left side. By now, if you've just caught that sweet spot of the movement, your legs should feel kind of long. You should feel a long line through your body and a sense of stability, lengthening through your lower back and hips. If not, look, it's not perfect every time, so don't worry too much. Relax your legs now. Let the heels drop out to the side, and I would like your glutes to stay quiet. I'd like your lower back to stay quiet while we have a look at shoulders. The shoulders work is usually quite a lot more complex. So if your shoulders are feeling tight and gnarly today, keep your arms in goalpost position with the tops of the shoulders coming away from the ears. Put your corsets back on, pelvic floor up, waist in. Pelvic floor up and waist in doesn't require you to engage your glutes, but it will cause your butt to tuck a little bit. Okay, so tight shoulders means goalpost arms. Pretty okay shoulders means arms extended in front of you with the palms facing each other. The movement is exactly the same with one exception, that you're not trying to extend your arm. You're just lifting from the shoulder blade. So don't try and pull your arm forward if you've got your arms extended. On an exhale, see if you can energetically, if not physically, just pull your shoulder blade up towards, right shoulder blade up towards the ceiling, so that your arm maybe floats off the floor, and then relax it back down. And then over to the left. Try and keep the rest of your spine, glutes, and legs relaxed. A lot of people, especially yoga people, really struggle with this. The job is to try and have a sense that something is attracting your shoulder blade straight up towards the ceiling, and that is causing the muscles around the shoulder blade to press upwards to try and pull. And the pulling is the dead weight of the arm off the floor. Some people's arms don't lift at all, but they can feel the intention of it, which is good enough. Intention becomes action with practice. So once again, just keep this movement going while I'm chatting. If you work with me, you know if you're a person who struggles with this exercise, it's absolutely fine. It is extremely frustrating, but it's worth persevering with. If you're really struggling with what does that mean, shoulder blade pulling up but not shrugging in, do some shrugs. Just start by pulling both arms up, squeeze shoulder blades together and release them. When the shoulders get warm and you can feel that movement, you might be able to access the muscles more readily. Keep your arm a dead weight. Mostly what I see in this situation is people just shrugging their arm back, shrugging their arm back, shrugging their arm back, and they're doing a combination of hoiking their shoulder blade towards their spine and pulling their arm up off the floor. It's a very small movement, and it involves employing some slightly complicated muscles. Okay, so we're going to progress this to the next level, wherever you are. Let's make this a touch more active. So I would say, why not lengthen your legs away? Since we're heading back towards yoga mode and locust pose. You can do this one. I would suggest arms in goalpost for a few rounds, and then we'll move towards locust pose itself. So bring your arms back to goalpost, especially if they're extended forward. Draw your waist in as we did before, pelvic floor up, and just leave your legs lengthened on the floor. Your job now is to potentially just lightly press your arms down into the floor as you slide your chest forward and maybe curling up a little bit off the floor. Gaze stays down towards your block. If your head lifts, is just an inch or two off the block, and then lower back down. Keep your core control on and become very aware of how much your lower back is working. In an ideal world, lower back, lumbar region is absolutely quiet. Legs are absolutely quiet, and all that's happening is a feeling of lengthening and opening up through the chest, maybe a little effort through the arms and shoulders as you do that. It's very much a beautiful upper body exercise. And for some people, this movement is absolutely minuscule while they figure out that feeling of sliding your chest forward and up between neutral shoulder blades. Fantastic. You can stick with this if this works for you. I'm just going to do one more. Lovely. Relax your head down and let's relax the shoulders for a moment. We're going to do the same thing with legs. So once again, walk your legs in and together. Pull your low abdomen in and up a little bit. Hug your waist. And as you exhale, lengthen and extend both legs together away from you. They might not lift very much. They might lift a lot, just depends on where you are today. There should be a feeling of lengthening through your spine rather than hoiking up through your spine. And regardless of what it looks like, the aim is to lift the whole leg, not bend from the knees. It really doesn't matter whether the leg comes up or not. Okay, I'm just going to do one more of these and relax it. If that all felt like a bit much, I would have a rest now. Otherwise, we're going to take hands down by the sides and have a go at locust pose, and then we'll make our way over to the next part of the section. So forehead can be on the floor now if you want locust pose. Arms down by your sides, palms facing your body, maybe even touching your thighs. Draw your waist in. As you exhale, you're lifting and lengthening your chest so that your fingertips reach towards your toes, and then lifting and lengthening your toes like they're trying to get away from your fingers. It is a back bend, but it's a lengthened back bend. Then release it. If you fancy it, try that a couple more times. Just pulsing in and then releasing. One more. And release. And if you want to do another one and hold it for a breath or two, feel free. Don't forget to breathe. Well done. Release. Take your right arm out to the side, left hand under your shoulder, bend your left knee and roll yourself into a little front-lying thoracic twist. Just letting your hips roll back. Head can just rest on the floor or on your cushion if you want. Super. When you're ready, roll it over to the other side. Well done. Roll yourself back to center, hands under your shoulders, pick yourself up and back to all fours, where we're going to take a little bit of, you can do either wagtails or side to side downward dog, or you can do a side bend in child's pose. Your choice, just to finish off this section. So from here, I am quite happy to do side to side child's pose, just squeezing right shoulder and right hip together, and then over to the left. If you prefer wagtails, you can pick up your toes and rock your knee over your knees from side to side. I don't like doing this sort of work on my knees, but for some people, it feels really nice. So you do what feels right for you. Just a little bit of sideways work, you know, and not spinal bending, back bending. We just want to make this neutralize a little bit. Fantastic. And from here, you can make your way back to a seat and assess if you need any further stretches, or maybe if you need something that's a little bit more of a rounded child's pose. If you really work those back bends quite hard, a rounded child's pose for a few breaths can actually be quite nice. The next section we're going to move towards will be seated, and it's going to start in a kneeling position for some increased back bending. So if you want to take yourself into some deeper back bending and knees-based side bending work, some control work for hips, glutes, and back, and core stabilization, this is going to be good for you. I really need padding for my knees. So I'm going to use my little Pilates block here. You can use a blanket. You can use just whatever suits you. And we're going to start with some lovely camel pose. It's a lot, but we like it, right? So you're going to tuck your toes. Draw your hips down and forward, i.e. tuck your butt under a little bit, hug your waist in. Grow nice and tall, lift through your chest, and just draw your chin up the wall in front of you. Bring your hands to your hips. And I've got my toes tucked. You don't have to, but it's not a bad idea for most people. I'd like you to just start by drawing your elbows back and together. I've got my hands on the backs of my hips with the thumbs nearer the front of my waist. I'm just going to press my hips forward and lift my chest towards the ceiling. And then release that. Let's do that a couple more times. Lift and lengthen through the chest and then release. One more. And then release. We're going to have a go at half camel, and then we're going to take that into kneeling gate pose. If any of this feels bad, leave it. It should not feel like you're hoiking a lot from your lower back. You can go back to this same back bend, or you can just watch and do the best you can. For some people, blocks are much better than heels. So you could have your blocks nearby in case you want to use them for the half camel position. I'm not going into full camel today. So let's start with the right-hand side. You're going to grow tall in your kneeling position. Start with toes tucked. Spiral your right arm up and back, taking your chest with you as you bring your hand to your heel. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling like you're using your arm to press your chest up. Lift through your chest, press your hips forward, gaze up or forward. And just lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Often, this is just enough. Fantastic. When you're ready to come out, spiral yourself up and over. And just for a moment, pull your hips back towards flattened feet and lengthen out through your spine, just to neutralize a bit. Okay, we're going to do the second side on the second side. So square yourself up, walk your hands back in with your left hand under your left shoulder. You're going to kick your left leg out behind you and then extend your right leg out to the side for kneeling gate pose, this sequence. So at first, we're in a sort of a kneeling extended side angle pose. Press your hips forward. Make sure hips and shoulders are lined up. Right arm's pressing up towards the ceiling, and then you can extend the right arm over your bicep over ear if you wish. Press into the outer edge of your right foot. When you're ready, we're coming up and over. So pull with your waist for this work. As you exhale, squeeze your waist up. You can come to fingertips first if you want, and bring yourself over into gate pose. Hand to shin, left arm extending now over to the left. This is core work, right? You should not feel any pain or hoiking in your back when you do these movements. If you do, break them up into separate parts. Good. Hold it, hold it, hold it. When you're ready, we're going to go back, optional, and see if we can find a little bit of half moon. Left fingertips to the floor. We're going to roll your right shoulder up so it's stacked over your left shoulder. You can take your arm up if you want, but you don't have to. Squeeze your butt tightly and see if you can lift your right leg any amount, right? Toes pointing forward, pushing that foot away like it's pressing against a wall is heavy work, right? Most people come up a little bit. And then lower that foot down, spiral yourself around, have that little child's pose again. Lengthen out. Kneeling half moon is no joke. I think it's harder than standing half moon. And if you got it just right, you should have felt your glutes do some work. Not everybody feels their glutes work, but that's where that movement comes from. It's not from your back. It's from a stable core. It's a strong leg, strong hip complex, strong glutes. And you can usually feel all that happening. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to switch sides. Now, you can just turn around. I'm going to physically turn around because otherwise I'll be facing the wrong way. Okay. Starting with camel, hands to hips. Let's just do that prep again. Just press your hips forward, hands on hips. Lift through your chest, squeeze yourself up, squeeze the elbows together. If you need to do a couple more of those, just pulse in. Notice which bits of you are reluctant. Remember, toes can be tucked and you can have blocks by your feet if you need them. Fantastic. From here, let's go for left arm up and back. Onto left knee, right arm up towards the ceiling. Open it up, lift and lengthen. See, my back bend is not huge at the moment. My training this morning was all very core and upper body base, so closed. So I'm getting a massive stretch here. I'm working hard for this, but it's not a big movement. When you're ready, on an exhale, a little rounded child's pose. Fantastic. Let's float this up. Right hand in line with right hip. You're going to kick your right knee out to the side. Left leg extends out. Left arm up towards the ceiling for this little variation. It's like a kneeling half moon. I'm sure it's got a name. I can't keep track of all the names of everything all the time, and I don't care to. Extend your left arm over your ear and lengthen out. There are some people who are so good at remembering all the names of everything from all the different disciplines, and they remember the Sanskrit. It's just not how my brain works. I remember some things. Now remember, this next move is a core move. So pulling up, lifting and lengthening through your arm. If you need to come up in stages, is fine. Squeeze at the waist, exhale, up and over, gate pose. These movements are not about hoiking from joints. Sometimes when people become very bothered about being good at something or proficient or getting into the deepest possible version of the posture, they become very, very bothered about just get there any way possible. And especially as you start to age, that's bad news. Doesn't matter how big your movements are, make sure they're coming from muscles and they're safe. You don't want to be hoiking joints and bending deeply and hunching and rounding and arching your back all the time. Let's have a go at that half moon again if you wish. You can duck it if you don't want to. Fingertips to the floor. Squeeze your butt. Pull your abdomen in. It is a strong exercise. Do your best as you exhale. Lift that left leg any amount. Point the toe forward. It's like you're jamming the sole of your foot into the wall. How high can you go? Doesn't matter. Just make sure I can feel my glute working. And for me, even though it's not a pleasant feeling, that's cause for celebration because I work really hard to get any sensation through my glutes. Let's swivel around back into that little child's pose. Lower yourself back down. Take a breather. Well done. Whatever you managed, well done. Stay in your child's pose for a moment, just lengthen it out. If you need a different type of child's pose, absolutely fine. It's all good. Awesome. When you're ready, we're going to walk this in. I'm going to turn around so I'm facing the right direction. We're going to do a little bit of a seated flow. So you could leave that work there and move straight on to mobilization. This seated flow is going to offer you a little bit more challenge for your core control, ranging from hardcore core work all the way to more of a stretchy movement. I would recommend, this is where you might want to consider having something to sit on and a strap close to hand, because for many people that's what's needed for these postures, because we want them to be aligned and tall. They're not very comfortable, so it pays to get your bang for your buck when you do this work. We're going to start with boat pose. You've done enough planks and core work so far, but boat pose is always in your front abs and stabilized abs. It is never in your back. So I would rather you kept your feet on the floor for boat pose rather than lifted them and hurt yourself. So let's extend arms forward, firm up through your abdomen, lifted spine, gazing forward, and just start to sit back. I can feel my sitting bones tilting, but I haven't tucked my butt under, right? This is not Pilates rolling up exercise. Really flattened abdomen. And then I'm going to see about lifting one leg and then lifting the other. You do not need to lift here, and you definitely don't need to lengthen. This is not what we're doing in this class. If you choose to lengthen, you need to make sure you're fully tight and you don't arch your back. We're just holding this. Feet can be down. It would work plenty hard enough if you were just feet down. You can work core control. See if you can squeeze your thighs and chest closer together. It will hurt your hips. Good. When you're ready, lower one leg first, then the other. Knees out wide, soles of the feet together. Well done. That was a long hold. I was chatting, yes, but that was a long hold. So well done, whatever you did. Here you can be in diamond pose, nice and rounded, which is nice for release for the lower back. Or you can be in butterfly, which is feet together, close to the groin, lengthened through the crown of your head, and then lengthening forward. And it's a much smaller fold for most of us, depending on how flexy we're feeling today. But it feels stronger without having to close yourself off. I think it's important to move away from the idea that being near the floor is necessary. Yoga is all about upward energy, grounding your grounded parts through the floor, and then lifting the rest of you up with energy and with control towards the ceiling. And Pilates is about stabilizing all of that. The two of them together work very beautifully. And all calisthenics and bodyweight training is about control. So you need to have the layers of control through your body. And the reason I talk about core a lot is because most people don't use it enough. It's about stable core, not overworking and not underworking. Anyway, let's go for the next exercise. I'm going to keep my feet down for this one. It is possible to lift your feet for this one, but for most people, they put themselves in really compromised lumbar spine position. You could add a weight, a barbell plate or a dumbbell or something, but frankly, you don't need to. Hands to heart, lengthened through your spine, tuck your ribs and hips together a little bit, really scoop your belly in. Belly should not be doming forward. As you engage your core, it should be scooping back and up towards your ribs, maybe. Sit back to a point where it feels like a bit of work. Make sure you keep your heels on the floor. Exhale to rotate your upper body to the side. Inhale through center. Exhale other side. Inhale through center. How many of these do you do? Depends on what you're able to do. Usually I do fewer and deeper. If it's not hard enough for you, you twist a little bit more, maybe lower down, and then back to center. Twist a little more, maybe lower down, and then back to center. Some people can go low and tap, back to center, low and tap. Usually when I see people do that, it's because they're trying to show off that they can, and what they're actually doing is going into their lower back. So I would stay lifted and control it here. I think that's enough, isn't it? Pull yourself up, use your thighs if you need to. We're going to come into the next seated exercise, which will stretch out some of what you've already done. And we're going to build seated saw here. And it's where you might, A, want to sit on something, and B, you may want to have a strap. Seated saws Pilates. And you'll be glad to know after this exercise, we will mobilize. So legs out wide, comfortably wide, but wide. Grow tall. Again, engage through your center, but not too heftily. You're going to, if this is not comfortable for you, you can have your knees bent. You could have your feet even flat to the floor. So work the way that works for you. Also in yoga, there's a tendency to want to fold over legs. You can fold on the inside of your leg. Most women I know just don't have room to fold it over their actual leg. Inside of the leg is fine. Give yourself the space you need. Okay, we're aiming for long, lengthened, neutral spine. So turn your upper body without losing your sitting bones on the floor towards your extended leg. It won't be, I'm going to the right first, it won't be a big rotation. You have two options at this stage. You can use a strap around the ball of the foot, lengthened up tall. I would use a strap, not a band. Wind it around your hands, and then draw your waist in and hinge from your hip forward with a flat, neutral spine, and hang out here. Keep pressing your left hip down. So the intention is not to hunch and go low. The intention is to lengthen and feel that hinge from the hip with the waist drawn in, which is part of what gives you this movement. If you're all right here, you can do it without the strap. If you're able to control yourself, you can do it without the strap. It's accountability with this one. For some of us, it's just very hard to keep that lengthened spine and not hunching round the minute we get here, because it's hard work, right? So just keep pressing your left hip down. We're going to just take another moment here. Fantastic. Walk it back in. And based on what you did on the other side, try again. See what goes, based on what you did on the first side, on the other side. I would recommend starting with the strap if you're struggling to maintain that posture. So rotate towards your left leg. My toes are up because it's more stretchy. Pull that right hip down and lengthen forward as a flat back. Am I flat to the floor? No, because I do not have that flexibility today. We've done a lot in this session. Some sessions I'm really high up because I just need that movement into my hip joint and that control through my center and that feeling of finding the movement in my muscles and joints, or joints supported by muscles. So yeah, this is not a big movement for me, and actually it feels less comfortable on this side than it does on the other side. Good, let's just have one more breath. We're going to walk it back in. Now, if you are really uncomfortable sitting here like this right now, I would recommend you switch to cross legs, because we're going to do some twists before we move into seated saw. So we're going to do genie twists. Start with 5 arms stacked. Doesn't matter which way they're stacked, but they're lower than your shoulders, waist is in, and your arms are going to stay lined up with your chest exactly as they are. They don't move independently. And your gaze lifted is in line with where you might be wearing a wristwatch. Waist is in. As you exhale, your whole body rotates just a tiny bit to the right. All the movement comes from your waist. Inhale through center. Exhale just a tiny bit to the left. I said we do 5 of these. We're going to do 6 total. So 3 on each side, because I don't want you to feel super tired. One more on each side. You can do more if they feel good. We're going to move to full genie rotations. The genie rotations, you take your arm out to the side. If that's too much for you, you can stick with these. So when you're about to center, inhale. As you exhale, you're going to wave your top arm out to the side, rotate as you did before, but now you can go a little further because your arm is going back. Inhale through center. Exhale, left arm out to the side. And inhale through center. As you bring your arm back, stack it under and then take the opposite arm out. Stops you from pulling your arms and shoulders up, tensing through your neck and back. Keep it moving. I'm going to do 1 more on each side, 3 per side. They are demanding. It's hard just sitting here like this. Well done. Pause. If you need to stretch out your legs, do what you need to do. But we're going to go straight into seated saw from here. I'm just going to show you. In fact, you can stretch out your legs while I show you what seated saw is. So for seated saw, it pays to have the legs a little bit closer together. You can sit on something if you need to. It's not giving in. It's just helping you stay lifted through your spine. Arms come forward about shoulder distance, maybe a little wider than shoulder distance apart, in a posture which I like to affectionately call shit lighthouse, right? This is like your beam of light. It's not very big, right? And it's not going to go very far. You're going to rotate your upper body towards one of your outstretched legs so that the opposite arm reaches towards one of the toes. Doesn't matter which one. Arm on the same side goes back behind you with the thumb down. Extend and extend, pulsing towards your leg. Bring it back to center. On an exhale, you're rotating towards, for argument's sake, your left leg. You're bringing your left pinky finger towards the toes. Your right arm goes back behind you with the thumb down. Pulse, pulse. Back to center. Let's just keep it going. Rotate to the right, right thumb down, right arm behind you, left finger towards your right toes. Keep it going. You can always watch the video if you're not sure. It's a mouthful, this one. I talk a lot, but cueing this is just a pain in the ass. Okay, extend, extend. Waist stays drawn in. Exhale for your pulses. Back to center. It's really hard when you do it well. The aim over time, and I don't like to call it an aim because for some of us, it ain't never going to happen and we don't care, is to get your little finger beyond the outside of your little toe. I can do that, but not without rounding my spine. And as I say, frankly, I do not care so much as wanting to do the version I can do well. So let's not get caught up with objectives. No one can see you. Do it well and you'll get the benefit. Do it badly. And best case scenario, you won't. Worst case scenario, you might hurt yourself. Do it well. 1 more on each side. I know it's a lot amongst all the lectures. Well done. Let it go. Shoulders relax. You see, if I was into singing, I do like singing, but I'm bad at it. I would just sing the whole song and my nieces would be delighted in me for getting involved with Frozen. I think it's Frozen. Yeah, it is Frozen. But I'm not going to sing to you because, well, all 36 of my followers would, 36, all 10s of them would probably leave. If they haven't already, probably they don't know they're here at all. Okay, a few rounds of wipers, seated wipers. So walk your feet in, knees bent, rest on your hands, rotate your knees from side to side. You can do this lying down if you want. It's just that when I've been seated, I like to give myself a chance to stretch my shoulders before I lie down. And when you do seated wipers, you can lift your chest and squeeze your shoulders together because actually, seated saw is a beast. It is a beast. I think it's a beast. These movements, they all seem like they should be easy. And the fantastic thing about Pilates and yoga is if you're finding it too easy, then chances are you're not putting enough effort into getting your form correct. Because with those movements, even if they look unlabored and they feel fantastic. The thing that's fantastic about them is the control, the feeling that you're controlling your body moving through space, the feeling that everything is so smooth. It's not effortless, but it's not labored. And then some movements really are labored. Okay, if you want more of these, please feel free, and even now lie down to take them. We're going to move into some mobilization. So roll yourself down onto your back. A little bit of mobilization here, knees to chest, hug them in. However you like, have a little rock and roll. Feel the ground beneath your back. If you've done the whole sequence to get to this point, you'll be ready for some stretching. I'm gonna try and keep this nice and flow oriented. We're gonna hold the stretches. Hopefully you've got time. If you've got extra time, then take longer. From this knees to chest position, let's hug the right leg in, extend the left leg long. And this right leg can go wherever it is, but I'm just gently going to press my hips back down to the floor and point and flex my left toes. Just relax shoulders. You can use your strap for this if you want. And now I'm going to start taking my right knee out to the side and up towards my armpit, around the rib. Start doing some circles with the right foot. Fantastic. About the other way. Try and keep your left hip down. Normally when people can't feel anything, it's because they've hoiked too deep, they've let themselves roll onto their side, or they're not allowing time for the stretch to appear. Okay, when you're ready, let's bring this knee back through center. I'm going to bend my left foot and come into figure of 4. So right ankle over left thigh, shove that ankle across a little bit, press your right knee out so the hip is nice and open. You can stay here if this is enough, you're getting a decent stretch into your right glute and hip. Hang out here. Otherwise, you can gently pull up your left leg. And when you bring your left leg in, weaving your hands or your strap behind your thigh or shin, you're going to just hug your waist a little bit and press your spine to neutral. Sometimes people roll themselves up so tightly that they get nothing. You want to try and have your spine neutral. And I got a perfectly serviceable stretch here. It's not breathtaking, but I can feel around the top of my hip, the side of the right glute. Perfectly serviceable. I often like to extend my left leg, but don't do it unless you can do it without losing that hip stretch, right? So I like to extend the leg. It feels nice, but it's not actually doing anything for me because it takes something away from the stretch in my hip, which is what I'm here for. When you're ready, let's lower the left foot down, arms wide. Keep your legs in the formation that they're in. Figure of 4, reclining pigeon. Arms wide, relax your shoulders and gently lower your knees over to the left. I know we do these all the time. We do them because they work. Press your left foot down into the floor and just be here. If you need to rearrange this twist, no problem. Do what you need to do. Fabulous. When you're ready, let's bring it in. Back to center. Right leg comes to the floor. Left leg hugs in. Give it a squeeze. Slide your right leg forward as long as it doesn't tug on your back. And gently press your hips down to neutral spine. If this is tugging for your lower back, knees can be bent. And the reason I didn't say before is because everybody I work with has the ability to lie down on their back flat like this, unless they're very gnarled up. And everybody knows, bend your knees, but you know, that's not the case for everyone in life. I'm going to start taking, I'm flexing and extending my extended foot, by the way. I'm taking my left knee out to the side while I do the flexion and extension of my right foot, sliding the heel away, pointing. You might not feel much, but it's a useful movement. You might feel a lot. Obviously, you can't do this movement necessarily if you've got your foot flat. Okay, relax your right leg. Let's do some nice big ankle circles on the left leg, which is now out to the side. Use a strap as well, remember. We'll do a little bit more hip stretching just after this sequence. Fantastic. Bring your knee back to center. And we're going to come into reclining pigeon. So, yeah, bend your right knee, take your left ankle over the thigh. And when you're ready, carefully pull that right thigh in, pull it in, and then neutralize your spine, lengthening out. And find the stretch into your left hip. Again, your feet, it's fine if you want to keep your right foot on the floor. You want to be here for at least 30 seconds for a developmental stretch. Excellent. And then when you're ready, lower this right foot down, arms wide, and roll both sets of knees in their current formation all the way over to the right. If you need to, untangle your legs, by all means, just go for a standard twist. But yeah, make sure shoulders are relaxed. Doesn't matter if you're at the floor, but that's where we want to be, roughly. Fantastic. Let's bring this in. Untangle your legs and lengthen your whole body out. Full body stretch. Favorite. As you know, I quite often do a banana stretch here. If you want one, take one. I'm not going to do one now. Sweep your arms down by your sides, bend your knees, and make your way up to a seat any way that feels comfortable for you. Just a small seated stretch before we go. So I'm just sitting in cross legs. I'm going to do this on both sides. I'm actually sitting in perfect pose for yoga, which is one foot in front of the other. It can be any version of cross legs. Fingertips down in line with the hips. Going to slide the right fingertips across to the right. Stay stacked, don't hunch. Left arm is going up and over your head. I'm going to turn the palm up, bent at the elbow. You can rest your hand on your head if you want. And just start to lengthen that left elbow up towards the ceiling and back a touch. For this a slightly twisty side bend. You can look past your left armpit if it feels good for you. Nice, keep your hips on the floor. If your hips rock over, you will lose some of the glory of this particular stretch. When you're ready, inhale, up and over. I mean, probably exhale actually, but it doesn't matter. Switch sides, make sure you stay aligned. Elbow bent, up and back. You can have your hand on your hip or wrapped a little bit behind your back for this. You can rest your arm on your head if you want to. Breathe. No pain, even at this stage. Fabulous. Bring this back up to center, switch across. I know, it's going to feel really uncomfortable. Sit your hands behind you with the fingertips just rolling back towards the wall behind. As you inhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together and down. Lift your chest, maybe lift your hips up. And on an exhale, lower it back down. Walk your hands forward and just lengthen forward, pulling your hips back. Fabulous. Walk it back to center, shoulders back and down, hands down by your sides, palms forwards. Inhale, circle your arms up. And exhale, hands to heart, because why not? Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.